Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Matty and welcome back to this new little photography channel I've started here on YouTube. It's so fantastic to have you here. I am brand new to this platform, so looking forward to sharing more videos down the line and really just connecting with more photographers from around the world. I get a ton of value watching other photography pages and seeing how photos are created from certain trips they go on. So that was the goal with this channel and the videos I plan to share. So if you saw last week's video, I did a little trip down to the southwest of Australia where I kind of captured some B-roll and narrated like where I went and the photos I captured. And today's video is going to be very similar. Instead, this time I headed north and kind of documented my journey along the way. There wasn't a major agenda for the photos I was trying to capture. It was really just to kind of capture what I saw, get out of the city, and really just push a creative side that I feel has been lacking quite recently. Like many travel photographers or landscape photographers, once you've kind of explored your local area, you get really bored with the compositions around you, and it's quite hard to be excited by new things. So the goal with this trip was to head out in search of some compositions of places that I've already been to and just see what else I can find. It's a real shame that we can't travel anywhere right now, and as a photographer trying to build their portfolio, I'm sure many of you will agree in saying that this is a really difficult time for that. Whilst there isn't much I could do about this, I'm trying my best to push myself creatively and kind of photograph those places that I've already been to and see if I can find some different shots there that I would have missed in the past. And to make things even more of a creative push and challenge, I decided to shoot the whole day on my Fujifilm X100F. This little camera is absolutely awesome. I love this thing. It's tiny, it's light, it's got great quality as well, and it's the 35mm equivalent full frame, which is what I love to shoot with when doing travel photography. This was such a great idea because it did force me to compose in ways and look for shots that I wouldn't usually get if I had a big zoom lens. So this was a good creative challenge to throw in the mix. So jumping right in, after I left my house, like I said, I just got on the road. I didn't really have an agenda and I just started heading north. I drove for about 1 hour before pulling into this little turn off and kind of exploring this shaded area to kind of stretch my legs.
Okay, so first stop of this little journey, I have found this chill little space. And yeah, just gonna park up for a sec.
Whilst taking a walk around this pretty boring little inlet, I came across a lovely gentleman and his dog who got chatting, and he was also on his own little solo adventure that day. So he was kind enough to let me take his photo, and it was lovely to just run into someone who was doing something similar. After sharing a little chat with him, I got back on the road and continued just driving north. I didn't really have an agenda or a place to be. It was kind of just stopping off wherever I saw a good shot or pulling over if something looks cool and I thought maybe I can make something look good here. So probably the most exciting thing I came across on the drive up, which isn't really that exciting, was this cool looking old windmill. I will admit I did really overshoot this windmill. There wasn't really a lot going on, but for some reason, with the Fujifilm X100F, I was shooting with the classic chrome film simulation and things were just looking really good. So I continued to photograph all these different compositions and all these different framings just to try and make sure I got the photo. So after spending an embarrassingly long amount of time at the windmill and on the side of the road photographing this, I got back on the road and pulled into a small country town where I thought there might be some old buildings or some old kind of looking people that I'd be able to photograph, and that's where I headed next. The only thing that did catch my eye was this old looking gas station. It was ancient, if the best word I guess I could say. So after driving around the town for a little bit, looking for more frames, I decided to get back on the road, and I had about 2 hours worth of daylight left. So I decided to book it straight north and drove for about another hour, stopping off along the way. And I was heading to this place called the Pinnacles Desert. So the Pinnacles Desert is about 2 hours out of the city. And so it's a bit of a decent way to go for a day trip, but sun was going down and I figured this would be a really cool spot to try and capture the sunset. So the drive to the Pinnacles, I can say, isn't that spectacular. For anyone who's from Western Australia or anyone who has visited Western Australia, they would know that it is quite barren. There's not a lot in between the places that look good, and driving there is driving through the bush. It's flat, there's brown trees, it's not awfully pretty, but I did my best where I could to stop off and look for different kind of frames that I think would a bit more abstract to my style, and just kind of pushed my creative side. This drive did certainly push my creativity because it is genuinely empty out there, but some of the frames that did come out did look cool, and it really just broke up the journey up towards the pinnacle. So after about an hour's drive and vibing out to some tunes and some podcasts, I eventually got to the Pinnacles Desert, and I missed the cutoff, so I had to pay to get in. But in true Matty goes on a road trip style, the clouds did come in and cover up the whole scene in a way that wasn't really that great. I've managed to pick the second cloudy sunset in Cervantes history. I love it when the clouds create different shades of light, but the clouds this day just covered the sunset completely, so there wasn't a ton to work with. But the light was still good, so there's no excuse. I was in a cool place, and I just did my best to drive around and look for different compositions with the pinnacles themselves and the landscape all together.
Framing up a shot right here.
This location is honestly so cool. I've done a shoot here before with my friend Jamie. We did a little dirt bike campaign, and the shots that came out that day were beautiful, and even like the night I was there, it's just a very barren looking desert. I think it's a great location to get some cool landscapes and also for some astrophotography. So hopefully when the days are a bit shorter and I can head up there a bit later, I can get out and do a bit more astro work.
So I keep picking the days where it's windy and cloudy, but here we are. I wouldn't usually set up the little X100F on the tripod, but I've seen a nice composition with some change in the light up ahead and the, whatever you'd call the pinnacles, I guess. And yeah, I'm gonna see how that turns out.
Whilst I love taking landscape photos, I'm certainly not your traditional landscape photographer. I do a lot more travel and street kind of work. So coming across a tripod setup and long exposures wasn't really my cup of tea, but I tried to make it work, and the photos that came out did look pretty good. I experimented with more different photos using my car in the landscape. I was the only one there, so I had the whole place to myself, and I did manage to get a cool lines and some cool shadows, but that was all for the afternoon. Overall, the experience at the Pinnacles was really nice. The fact that it was empty was great for me because I could just kind of explore on my own terms. It was a shame about the light, but it was still bright enough to capture some decent photos, so I was glad I made that extra hour's drive after that country town. So that's all for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video of me exploring and taking photos. It's honestly really fun bringing a camera along and videoing what I'm shooting. I hope you get some value out of it because I certainly do, making these and watching other people do it. So just doing my best to contribute and share my work with more people. It would be fantastic if you'd consider subscribing or liking or following my work. It's honestly really nice to connect with more photographers and continue to grow and share my portfolio with more of you. I don't know why I was doing that, but that is the goal of this channel. And yeah, it'd be fantastic if you join. I hope you have a fantastic week and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks.